Now, let me show you my professional profile in little detail. So please let's go. First of all, I'm showing you my name in writing and along with my main qualifications and the areas for which I have been working in my professional life. These are the main areas, although I've been working in other areas too, but I'm just focusing on the main area. So let's go to the next slide. Here are my contacts. If you want to contact me for further discussion, for any opportunity for me in your organization, then you can just put an email to me or a WhatsApp message or just call me. Here's my WhatsApp message and my email. Here I'm counting my main qualifications, the professional qualifications. First of all, ICMA. I had completed in summer of '99, so it's 23 years since then. So I have a 23 years post qualification experience, and I had also the experience before qualifying and fully qualifying the ICMA. So total of my experience is 27 plus, which is only the relevant financial experience. Then I passed the ACCA certificate because one of my employer, Ascot Drummond, which was UK based and had outsourced me accounting in Pakistan. So they required me to get familiar with the UK tax laws, UK corporate laws, UK VAT returns, uh, national insurance, inland revenue requirements, and the corporate house, company house requirements. So for in their satisfaction, I also passed the ACCA certificate. Then, since financial professional in any organization always in is in liaison with the banks. So bank is the very important business partner of any organization for import export, LC documentation, for loan seeking, for any matters regarding the accounts, KYC requirement, AML requirements, any check clearing is stuck. For all those discussions, uh, knowledge of banking is very helpful, and the one who has the professional qualification in banking, he has edge over other financial professionals. So I have got the banking qualification also. It is the supreme banking qualification in Pakistan. Whoever gets qualified banking diploma from Institute of Banking Pakistan, he gets the post of class 1 bank officer in National Bank and other banks, and also gets the prizes on passing the banking diploma. So I've also passed the banking diploma. Then recently I passed the CIPM principles from CFA Institute USA. It made me um, familiar with the concept techniques of investment profession, so that I can manage the investments of my organization in a professional way, not simply like ordinary accountant, but I am dealing with the investment as any investment professional who are heading some mutual fund company or some stock exchange member, or some, the custodian or the uh, uh, dealers of the shares and securities. So I'm at par with them with this qualification. I have complete, mashallah, knowledge of the investment profession. I'll describe it ahead. So these are my four significant professional qualifications. So with all these bundle of qualifications, uh, I'm a robust and sound investment professional, finance professional, management accountant, and banking professional all in one. when it comes to experience, I have a total 27 plus year experience. Um, this is only the experience of finance and accounts and audit. I have other experience too. When I was studying in the college, I had been doing job in packages, and I had also been teaching in the school. But I'm just describing my professional experience here. And of this 27 years of experience, 12 years I had spent in National University of Sciences and Technology, NUST, which is the largest university in Pakistan. I've been managing finance. I've been managing the investments professionally over there, and reporting to the donors, and doing the accounting work and audit, internal audit work, system audit work. And after that, left this job in January of this year, 2022. And after that, I got the assignment from Islamic Development Bank. Islamic Development Bank is a very large uh, international financial institution which sponsors the infrastructure projects in the countries on the national level. So I had served that bank as a consultant. I had done the financial analysis of the Islamic banks, which they were sponsoring and investing into those banks. So I had done their analysis of the 10 years financial statements of those banks, annual reports, uh, and the camel analysis. Camel is a typical term of the banking analysis, which means C for capital adequacy, A for asset quality, M for management ability, E for efficiency, and L for liquidity. And there is also S for the systems. So I did the camel analysis of the 10 years of every bank. There were 17 banks world over in Eastern Europe, in Turkey, in Gulf, Africa, South Asia, Southeast Asia. As I had to check their banking data, banking industry data on their central banks, their rules, regulations of their central banks, and then I gave my opinion, my analysis on those banks' performance. I will show you in one of my slides how I conducted that analysis. And I have been serving textiles and construction industry before this uh, in Lahore and other cities. The main textile industries I have been serving were Nishat Mills Group, Laraspur Textile, uh, and other textiles, and the construction uh, companies, the electrical constructions, the civil constructions. So I've been serving these, and also the audit firms. Now, my professional qualifications, I'll be describing them one by one a little bit. FCMA. The ICMA is the qualification of management accounting. In addition to the ordinary financial accounting, which other professions can do, ICMA is aware of the management accounting tools also, which are helpful for managing of the organization. The other, as compared to other ordinary financial accountant who works for the 12 months only to produce the financial statements at the year end, the management accountant supports the organization throughout the year. He gives his management reports to monitor the performance of every department, every section of the organization. So, like a management a management objective is the optimum utilization of all its available resources, so that no resource goes is idle, and every resource is exploited to its best. To ensure that management cycle is implemented, management cycle or management by objective setting, MBO cycle, uh, at the phases of planning, execution, implementation, review, and controls. So, in all these phases, the management accountant supports the management and totally helps the management in achieving these phases of the and objectives of the management. Like in planning, the management accountant is able to make the plans, the budgets, the strategic plan, and the detailed plans. For example, if you want to ensure that this year we will increase our market share in the country by 20%, then how much sales you will have to make. So, sale budget is made, and for to achieve those sales, you need the production and how much production you will have to achieve, and to achieve that production you need the resources like labor, material, overheads, and then the subsidiary budgets of those areas are also made. And also the most important uh, resource for a finance is the cash. So, uh, management accountant makes the cash budget. I have been making the cash budgeting of my organization, just monthly cash budgeting. With the help of cash budgeting, you know that in the upcoming period, when there will be deficit, when there will be surpluses, so you arrange in advance for those upcoming events. Instead, that at the 11th hour, the management is embarrassed that the situation of deficit has come in the organization, and some emergency steps may have to be taken. So, for with the management accountant, this situation will be seldom faced if he prepares his cash budgets properly and reports the management in advance of the situations and discusses with them. And in addition to cash budgeting, other budgeting feasibilities are also an important tool for the organization. If the organization has the capacity to prepare the feasibilities to check any of the opportunities of advancement, of modernization, of extension, expansion, then he will be successful. He will be at pace, and he will be competing with its competitors in the industry if there is some feasibility expert with them who can always tell them of the results, of the outcomes of any extension and expansion of the benefits. So having the feasibility expert is a great advantage. You can discuss the feasibilities with the banks. You can show the feasibility to the investment partners, to leasing companies, and if you are a government organization, you can submit the feasibility to the parent ministry, and they can so on submit the feasibility to the finance division and then the national budget through the PC1. And if the government doesn't have enough funds to support the project, then there is also law, there is also some opportunities and provision of seeking funds from private investors through PPP scheme, private public partnership scheme, or build, operate, and transfer scheme, which means the investor will build the project and he will run the project until his finances, his capital investment is recovered. Then he will transfer or hand over the project to the government organization. So, to negotiate these opportunities, having a feasibility expert is a great advantage. Then implementation and execution of the plan. For that, you uh, make the detailed subsidiary plans for every department, every unit, every manager, and hold the manager responsible for their areas. And that's how you implement your plans. And then comes the review. Review is monitoring the actual performance and comparing it with the expected or projected performance, like how much the sales target was and how much sale target has been achieved. Similarly, what were the targets of cash expenditure and cash inflow, and what were the targets of production and how much they have been achieved, and then determine the difference, the variances or variations, and then also break up those variations into sub-factors to assign reasons to the variation, or how much was the variation due to the price increase or decrease, how much was the variation due to underutilization of the capacity, uh, how much is the variation due to the change in the mix of raw materials or yield of the raw materials. Uh, these type of reports and tools and techniques can be adjusted for every type of organization, whether it is a service organization or a manufacturing organization. Like for the education industry, for university, you can also make budgets of the fees and the budgets of the teachers, which is like a direct labor, and you can also note the variations of actual output and the expected output, and determine the reasons of the variations, and accordingly uh, take actions for future uh, from the feedback of these variance reports. And then is the control. Control is also an important aspect of the management. A management accountant helps the management in the control of the organization. He can make the internal controls, the SOPs, the manuals for dealing with every type of transactions, like which documents should be prepared and attached, uh, and how the transaction should be initiated, and who should initiate, what documents should he attach to the initial paper or proposal, and who should then check and approve it, and who should then conduct this transaction, and who should then record. Everyone should be a different person. That is the segregation of duties, and these different persons are checked on each other. And the internal control and SOPs include the checklists of the documents, checklists of the persons to be involved in the transactions, and to be fixed the responsibilities for every step of the transactions. And the internal control or SOPs also includes the uh, regular reconciliations of the stocks of the banks of the parties. So that's how a management accountant is more equipped with the concepts, techniques to manage the organization throughout the year instead of producing just financial statements at the end of the year. In addition to producing the financial statements, he can also help the management in better management of the organization. Then is my qualification of banking diploma. As I already told you that banking diploma has helped me to deal with the banks with confidence of the knowledge of their rules and regulations. They cannot fool me. I have advantage over other fellow professionals who have simple degrees of accounting or qualifications of accounting. This banking diploma is the best banking qualification in Pakistan, and it tells the all the prudential regulations, the banking laws, the negotiable instrument laws, and how to deal with the letter of credit, LC, how to complete the requirements of the loans applications, how to handle the requirements of KYC, AML, and how to deal with the checks stuck in clearing, how to discuss with the banks. So if you have a banking diploma and knowledge of the banking procedures, then you can talk with the bank, you can negotiate with the banks with more confidence. Next, the investment qualification. As I was assigned the investment duty as well in the NUST, and I have been managing a total portfolio of rupees 7 billion, 6 to 7 billion in National University of Sciences and Technology. So that is almost like a small mutual fund. So I was dealing with the investment more responsibility and more professionally, because I felt that it's a huge invest capital and I should not waste it, and I should get myself familiar with the investment professional knowledge. So I attended this qualification and passed CIPM, Principles from CFA Institute of USA. It gave me knowledge of global investment performance standards, how to present the investment performance, how to calculate it on the equal and uniform basis, which are same for throughout the organization, how the mutual funds calculate, how the banks calculate their performances. We also calculate like them, and then we can compare our performance with them, which includes the geometric averaging and the time and weighted money weighted averaging. And the CIPM also uh, taught me the professional ethics of investment profession, and evaluating and managing the risk. There are financial as well as non-financial risks, like the variations in the profits, the standard deviations, the insolvency risk, the market risk, uh, the there are many. For the time, I'm not recalling all of these, but there are financial and non-financial risks. So, investment professional is well aware of all those risks, and he can manage the risk. Uh, so he will not take the risk, and as well as give you extra profit after managing all the risk. An investment professional makes the investment policy for every type of fund which has been entrusted to him. The investment policy includes to check the risk appetite of the investor or the stakeholder or the beneficiary of the fund. Uh, we check their risk appetite by by the nature of the investor. Like a young man has enough time to absorb the risks, and the old man has lesser time to absorb the risks. And uh, likewise, there can be many other instances. So we check the risk tolerance. We also check the frequency of cash requirement and amount volume of cash requirements during the year of the investor or beneficiary. And we also check the legal and ethical constraints and preferences imposed by the investor. Uh, that if he has forbidden or the law has forbidden from certain type of investments, so we entertain those aspects also in making the investment policy. And after considering all this, we make an the eligible asset classes in which we can make the investment, and the range of investment from what percent of investment portfolio to maximum what percent we can invest. We define those ranges, and then we keep ourselves within those constraints of the investment policy. We agree the investment policy with the management. We make an investment committee of the senior management who may meet, say, monthly or quarterly, and they can review our performance, and they can review if any change is required in investment policy. And afterwards, we evaluate the investment performance. We set a benchmark for every type of fund. Uh, Benchmark is the scale with which we can compare our own actual performance. Benchmark is like some market index. Say if our portfolio is majorly consisting of a fixed interest based investments, then our benchmark can be Khyber Karachi Interbank offer rate, or it can be a 6 month T-bill rate. So that is how uh, you establish a benchmark, considering what is the nature of your portfolio, total portfolio. If your portfolio majorly consists of the equity based investments, like investment in and the stocks in the shares directly or indirectly through fund managers. Then you can set your benchmark like KSE 100, which is Pakistan's stock market index, and then you compare your actual performance with the benchmark set and determine the active return. Benchmark can also be a mixed benchmark, a customized benchmark. If your portfolio is also mixed portfolio, it has uh, fixed interest based securities plus the equity based securities as well. Then you can also establish a mixed or customized benchmark. And then you compare and determine active return or outperformance. And then you can also analyze that active return or outperformance by attribution analysis. Attribution analysis means you attribute, you break up the outperformance or active return into the factors. Those factors check the manager's skill as regards selection of the securities, as regards selection of the sector, as regards appropriate timing skill of making investment or exiting from the investments. So that is how you conduct the investment. So I don't conduct the investment as a layman or as an ordinary financial accountant. I am doing investments professionally, like any professional, mature fund manager of any major mutual fund company. If you are managing the investment professionally, you can give extra return without taking a risk because you manage the risk. You check, you analyze the investment opportunities well before investing, and then you decide the investment. If you are conducting investment professionally, you give an extra source of income to your organization, which is many times more than your salary. So you're giving your return of your salary many times for just by this only part of your function, which is investment, and in addition to the other functions also. And your donors of endowment funds, student scholarship funds, they are also get satisfied and assured that their donations are being properly invested and the profits are being properly utilized for the benefit of deserving students, and hence they give more and more donation. So that is also an extra source of income because of proper reporting to the donors. After the qualifications come the experience. So as I've already told you, I've been working in the NUST for 12 years. NUST is the largest university. Uh, it has campuses in addition to major campus in uh, Islamabad of 400 acres. It's a complete sector. There are campuses in Karachi, Rawalpindi, Quetta, Nushaira, and after my contract was ended in January of this year, 2022, I took up the assignment with the Islamic Bank of Financial Analysis of the banks, and for that I was working for the textile sector and the construction sector. In the areas of expertise for financial management, I've been doing the budgeting, visibility, financial analysis in National University of Sciences and Technology for the 12 years. I'll be showing you their slides later on. I've been doing the feasibilities. Feasibilities include the uh, long-term projections over 20-25 years of the cash flows of financial statements, income statement, balance sheet, fund flow, and determining the major KPIs which affect the decision making whether the product should be taken up or not. Those major KPIs are NPV, IRR, and payback. NPV means net present value, IRR is the internal rate of return, and payback period of the capital investment. So you determine these three uh, important KPIs, success factors, critical success factors, CSF, and I also made the financial modeling for the sensitivity analysis in these feasibilities. These financial models were flexible, and if they allowed the user to variate the parameters on which the feasibility depends, like the parameter of interest rate, if you have loan in your feasibility, or the parameter of capital mix, how much will be the loan portion and how much will be the equity portion. And there are other parameters like what will be the sale price, what will be the capital cost, what will be the expenses, salaries, electricity, etc. And you keep tweaking them little bit to check that how much effect will be on the final results of KPIs like IRR, NPV, and payback period. So that is the sensitivity analysis or stress analysis. If you make the proper financial model of sensitivity analysis, you can better analyze and check from the every aspect your project, and you can also satisfy the prospective investors, the banks, and make them presentation of your model. And there is quite chance that the project will be uh, started and people will be convinced, all the stakeholders will be convinced if proper working has been done. So that is the benefit of financial modeling and feasibility analysis. I have made the feasibilities of Solar Park, NUST Science and Technology Park, NUST Medical College. Two of these projects have been installed. NUST Solar Park has been installed. NUST Science and Technology Park has been installed. NUST Medical College is in offing yet because it is a very large project. And this capacity of feasibility, if you have the feasibility expert, you stay update in the industry with other competitors and keep modernizing and expanding your organization. And also the publicity and popularity of your organization is maintained, rather enhanced, if you have good, sound, professional experts with you. These feasibilities are also required to the banks, to the government for PC1 preparation, and to the BOT or PPP partner, and to any private investor. If you're trying to persuade any investor to invest with you, then you can show them feasibility. You can make a presentation, apply the financial modeling to check the sensitivity. In sensitivity analysis, we also make three levels of sensitivity or stress testing, like the optimistic level, in which we are very optimistic that sale price will be high or cost will be low, and so we will be earning a good profit. And there is also a normal or practical approach. We take the average approach between the optimistic and pessimistic approach. And thirdly, there is a pessimistic approach in which we are very conservative in our parameters. We take a low sale price, high cost, and then check whether the feasibility is still possible or not. So that is how we make the feasibility on three levels of stress testing or sensitivity. In the investment, I've been managing the investment professionally, not simply like an ordinary accountant. Investment profession has become a very uh, unique and specialized branch of finance. It is not ordinary function anymore. There are advanced qualifications by CFA Institute, USA, by Risk Management Institute, uh, England, UK, which are Financial Risk Management, FRM, and CFA and CIPM. So I have done the qualification of CIPM. Uh, this this professional qualification is highly valued in the mutual fund managers and banks, and they are highly regarded because they have the knowledge of uh, dealing the assets, their funds, and they don't let them lie idle. They utilize them and they invest them properly and risk freely also. and they manage the risk also. They analyze the opportunities uh, very well, very deeply, and then take the decision. With the investment policy I have already discussed. I've been managing different funds of the NUST like pension fund, gratuity fund, GP fund, and I have also made the research data models uh, for the shares, stocks trends, interest rate trends, and I have also been keeping a record of oil prices, inflation, uh, rupees versus dollar exchange rate, and the business news for the 7 years daily basis. I've been recording all these rates of all the stocks, which are around 600 stocks in Pakistan Stock Exchange. I've been keeping their data for 7 years on daily basis. I've been keeping the data of interest rates of all the tenors from 3 days to 20 years tenor. These are around 15 tenors, 3 days, then week, then monthly interest rate, then 3 monthly interest rate, then 6 monthly interest rate, and so on. It's up to 20 years bonds. So I've been keeping that data and checking the trends and linking these trends with the economic conditions, the business conditions, and the other variables like inflation, the oil prices, the business news. So I've been maintaining all these data in my financial models and checking the trends. I'll show you in my slide. When the area of controls and accounting in controls, I have designed the manual of how to conduct all types of transactions of cash payments, cash receipts, uh, the purchases, the investments, for all types of this transactions. I have detailed, I have outlined the steps involved, the persons involved to approve the transaction, to check the transaction, to record the transaction, custody of the transaction, and conduct of the transaction. All persons should be different person, and every person should be checking the work of the other person so that they are minimum risk of fraud and errors, and you also achieve the goals and mission of the organization, and you are on the right track. So to ensure that you implement the controls, the manuals, uh, you establish the checklist or documents to be attached with every type of transaction, the persons checklist and the documentation. Then I have also been doing the financial accounting. I've been making the financial statements which the ordinary accountants usually do, and checking the vouchers and reconciling the banks and reconciling the fees, reconciling with the parties, and I will also be dealing with the government departments regarding the grants and fulfill their requirements according to the general financial rules of the government, audit rules of the government, public financial management rules of the government, at what times, at what intervals they require the budget, the actual uh, figures, actual data, utilization of the budget, and the cash flows, whatever they require, we fulfill their requirement so that there is no hindrance, there is no hurdle in obtaining the grants, and there are no audit objections in our audit reports. And our parent ministry is pleased with our performance. I have been also writing the articles in the newspapers on the business and economy in Pakistan Observer, which is Islamabad based English daily. I've been writing articles in up to 2016. Uh, so then I was forbidden by my organization on the basis that since I am a civil servant, I cannot be critical on the government policies. So I stopped writing. I gave up writing in the newspapers. But I have also been writing in our research journal, which is Management Accountant. I will showing you some of my articles. So thank you, man, very much. I hope you shall give me a chance to discuss further for any opportunity. If your accounting department is already well substantiated, you can still consider further opportunities for the expansion of the business, like the investment cell or the finance financial management cell, management accounting cell, or the endowments or donation cell. So I can manage all those areas. So hope to see you, sir. Thank you very much. Inshallah.